Hell Is Us is here. Atmospheric exploration action game with a very heavy emphasis on exploration. You are thrust into a war-torn world, and to set yourself on the right path, you're gonna have to talk to people. Oh yeah, a lot of people. Because this is the only way you're gonna find out where to go. And honestly, this is one of the games where I was writing down all kinds of notes throughout my playthrough. Because otherwise I'd just end up aimlessly lost and not really knowing where or what to do next. I am the one true Sir Salty, and this is a salty or sweet review. We're gonna keep this nice and simple. Pros and cons. And starting with the big one is no map. With no indications on where to go, who to talk to next, so no hand-holding. That is an incredibly bold choice. Where yes, there has been games like this in the past where they have vague quest lines and no direction whatsoever, such as Dark Souls. But at least you had paths to take. This seems like a muddled mess of just fuck around and find out. You'll find so many of these key items and you'll have no idea what to do with them. Which then, while exploring and trying to figure things out, you'll be thrust into some combat. Which no, I'm not talking about the combat being bad. It's your typical action RPG. You got an attack move, you got a charge up move, you can dodge or block, but it's all stamina based. And you got some weapons that you can switch between. I'll get into combat later because this is a cons list and we are talking about the cons. Combat, pretty good. Anyways, moving on.
Okay.
The only thing I really notice when it comes to combat is that there is not too much variety when it comes to enemies. They might have some variations like having wings or they're flying, or you'll have to kill the tether first just like in the last clip. Not too much variety though. Next is making sure you exhaust all dialogue and actually listen to what people have to say. Well, I know what you might be thinking.
Like, hey man, in most games you talk to people and you'll find out what to do.
That is true, handsome stranger, but this comes off as forced, as you will not actually be able to progress the game unless you're actually taking all these notes to heart, which is the theme of the game, is that is how you're supposed to, actually do things. But this adds into so much more time wasted than it needs to be. And a gamer's time is very valuable, because you'll find yourself finding a puzzle and then you can't complete it, which is kind of reminiscent to like a Resident Evil Silent Hill type deal where you're gonna find this one item and it'll have one-time use and that'll be it. You got to remember that there's a puzzle there, and then you're gonna find some other item for a different puzzle. It kind of just starts to add up. And if you're not keeping track of where these are and what exactly you need, at least for me, it kind of feels frustrating. Like, what happens if I don't play this game for a few days? I'm just cooked. You do unlock fast travel fairly early, but it just brings you to another location that you'll still have to run around in, since exploration doesn't seem to improve. And now we're on the subject of the main character. He's just so bland and uninteresting. Like, some of my footage got a little messed up, but the scene where he gets his gear and like a weapon to fight these monsters, a lady comes in and completely saves his ass and dies in the process. And it just goes to him getting up, and then in the next scene, he's just wearing her clothes. I was starting to envy all these people in this mass grave, like not even giving thanks or showing any form of emotion. Also, you can't swim, so don't fall in water. Or it plays this kind of creepy cutscene where the guy's like, hey man, you didn't die, because he's retelling the story based on like an interrogation that's happening. It's kind of neat to show like the last part of the game before the first part. I don't know, it's the good storytelling choice, I guess. Still can't stand this curly-headed fuck though. Holy.
Wow.
Like, I'm not sure what the hell's going on in this world, but I definitely wouldn't just be chilling sitting in a room with a couple corpses, thinking this is the best place to have a smoke break. Also, I forgot to mention, there's no jumping in this game. Game's solely based on exploration and no jumping. That's just sad. But at least there's some booze to drink. Apparently, you'll start some quest lines when you just find sheets of music, because we gotta do a good deed after all. And now for some pros. It's mostly the combat I'm going to be talking about here. It's pretty fluent, plays a lot like a lot of action RPGs. You got stamina, dodge, blocking, and attacking. It does add an extra layer where you get this healing pulse. Any damage that you have taken, you can then hit the right bumper to then heal yourself if you time it correctly, as you see this white little circle pop around you. More hits makes it heal more, but this is also the mechanic that trivializes combat, as you don't even really need to dodge or block as long as you're good at just getting the damage in and healing immediately. There are glyphs to augment special abilities, but it didn't seem to be that game-changing. One of my favorites was actually using this drone that you have, and you can use it to use different abilities, such as distracting your enemies. I did do some reading into this, and apparently there are enemies that can block your drone, so I guess it's something that you don't rely on too much, but it does help when you're kind of outnumbered. As much as it is one of my biggest pros, it is also pretty repetitive. But then again, a lot of action RPGs are like that, dodge, attack, repeats itself. They did manage to make a pretty creepy atmosphere, which is very fitting, and the music's not too bad. All in all though, I just feel it kind of falls short. For some players, I think this will be a breath of fresh air, as it won't hold their hand and it'll let them figure out things on their own pace. But with puzzles upon puzzles, it just kind of slows down the pacing of the game. And you know what? I don't got too much time to game anyways. And I feel like if I put down this game for a few days and come back to it, I'm just going to be even more lost than I was originally. So all in all, I was a little bit salty about it, as you can tell. I like what I like, and this just isn't it. But hopefully this might help on your decision in wanting to play the game or not. But either way, thank you for watching, and take care out there.